What's going on in the insurance world? Is this a special requested topic today?
It is, which
awesome.
we love that. We love that. I've had 2 people ask me about it in the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
And I was thinking about this because it's so funny, the words that we use in insurance that we think the whole rest of the world is supposed to understand.
Yeah.
And what we're going to talk about is renter's insurance. But when I entered the industry in 1985, they called it you entered the world then. It was called HOBT. Like anybody was supposed to know that.
Oh.
I mean, how would you even know what a HOB was, which was the very popular homeowners B form. And then you put the T, which is made it tenant. Mm-hmm. Then they switched it. They tried to help by calling it tenant homeowners, which is an oxymoron.
Yeah, that doesn't, no.
Yeah, you're either a tenant or you're a homeowner. So now it is correctly called a renter's policy. And so I've had people ask me, do I need one of those? How much do they cost? Why would I need that? So that's what we thought we would talk about today.
And so the renter's policies are super easy. And they're cheap. Because you're not covering a house. Yeah. You're only covering your personal contents and a little bit of liability. Now, that liability section on these renter policies, as we've talked before, is highly important. And because these policies are so cheap, that is an excellent way to increase the liability to get you some extra coverage. Now, with a renter policy, as you know, they're for people who actually rent, homes, apartments. What else can a renter policy be used on?
Well, a condo, but it's a condo right. Tenant homeowner, so that's a different form.
It's not the same.
It's the HOB con. The ever popular HOB con, right? Well, and when we write a lot of these, when students leave home and they move to an apartment for college, and the apartment complex requires them to have it, so you'll get a lot of people that ask for them then. Right. We actually did that with Matt whenever he went to college. He didn't live in a dorm, he lived in an apartment, and I would have gotten him one anyway. I think it cost $120 a year for him, and that was in Denton, and he's in Dallas now, and it's like $140. So it's very cheap, but it does cover your content, so that's your stuff. So if you have a fire, the apartment complex is not responsible for damage to your stuff if you have a theft.
Oh, what if you had a fire in an apartment complex?
If you caused a fire?
Yeah.
That was the liability part. Which
I'm telling you, I think one of the most ignorant thing that I've done was go through my college experience without renter's insurance.
Yeah.
I should have done it. I had my house broke into and lost just about everything of value for myself and the 3 roommates that I was living with. They ransacked the whole place. Wow. And we didn't have any insurance, and there was nothing that the police were able to do for us, and it was just a loss.
Yeah. And so talking about starting the fire, that could really happen because and not just college kids, but anybody, people do. They don't mean to start the fire. Maybe they left their crock pot plugged in, whatever, and then they find out that they burned the whole apartment complex. Well, will you have enough liability to pay for all of that? Probably not, but at least you would have some.
Some is better than none.
And again, you have to, for that liability to kick in, you have to be responsible. It has to be your fault. You have to be proven negligent. But it's really good to have that if something like that happens.
So according to your Instagram, you were burning 733 tea candles in your bedroom at the night of the fire.
Yeah. Right. It is back to your
While
place.
it was cute, it was not.
The photos looked great.
Right, yeah.
So the contents coverage and the liability, but you shouldn't get it just because somebody's making you get it. You should get it if you rent. If you rent your home, apartment, like Brad said, anything that where you're not the homeowner. If you're the homeowner, you'd have homeowners insurance. We call it homeowners now instead of HOB.
It is. It's so important.
It is.
It's something that you don't really think about, but like you said, $120, $140 a year just to have that peace of mind is crucial. And send your kids off to college, but send them with some insurance.
Send them insurance. And if you're thinking, well, who would I even call? Obviously, you can call us, but chances are whoever writes your car insurance probably writes renter's insurance. And most of the time you can get a discount if you have the policies together.
Oh, perfect.
So that even makes it even cheaper. So, right. Obviously, like I said, call us, we want you to. But if you have, one of the ladies I was talking to at church had some accidents on her auto policy, and she can't really move auto insurance. And I said, call them. She just moved into an apartment. She sold her house.
Yeah.
I said, call them. They'll write you a policy for probably less than $100.
Does it affect anything if you have roommates?
Each roommate would carry their own.
Would have to have their own insurance.
Because remember that the common spaces of each of the houses divided among the tenants. Thus, when you have the different rental policies, they're there not only for your stuff but for your liability. So if you did like say a house, you would have to, let's say, name additional insurers of the roommates onto that policy. And certain policies actually have different forms that would actually include the tenants of the house. Each one of them is a little different, so it's best to have your agent review each one of them to make sure it's best for your situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
And along those same lines, if you are listening and you have rental property, it is very within your rights and very smart for you to require your tenants to have renter's insurance and to provide a proof to you. Because that way the liability, you have liability as the homeowner, but then they have liability too, and so you don't want to be the only one that possibly picking up everything.
Right.
Stop the buck with the tenant.
Yeah. So it's really kind of interesting because a lot of people don't think about it. It's so inexpensive, but it definitely can pay off. And where we see it pay off the most, of course, is the contents.
Sure.
The contents, like your situation.
Yeah.
It's just, and most of the time we send our kids to college. It's not the best furniture and stuff that they have, but still, they've got computers, they've got
TVs,
all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Definitely.
So yeah.
School books.
Books. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those
are costly.
That triggered me again. I'm just kidding.
I was just thinking of high value items that could be easily stolen. That's like, okay, you got the computers and all that. Yeah, that's easy, but the books, I mean, some of
Or
those
the
books.
shoes.
Yeah.
Honestly, I do take pictures of some of my shoes.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have...
I do that with my purses.
See, it's a thing.
It's definitely a thing.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. So
You have to prove that you own these expensive things.
you do sometimes, yeah. And another thing, we're getting off topic a little bit, but you have to remember everything you had too.
That's exactly,
That is
yes.
tough.
I've heard you need to take pictures around your home.
It's really
I know
smart.
it's probably different with renters, but
But no,
I'm
it's
just
really
saying.
no, it's
No, it's
very
the same
smart.
thing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
smart to do because if it's all gone, you're not getting. How are you even going to remember?
They're not going to go, oh, you had a bunch of Louis Vuitton? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, sure, here you go. No,
Well,
but...
I mean, I have witnesses that I do have.
I had, there
Yeah, but I'm just
But
saying.
no, you're
yeah.
right though. Yeah, you're right.
there were musical instruments my buddy had.
See?
Built some, there's other things that you wouldn't really think about, but they stole everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything. So, well, how do folks get a hold of you if they're interested? Maybe they're renting, maybe they're sending a kid off to college, maybe, they've got the rental properties like you mentioned, Sonia. How do they get a hold of you?
They can come see us on the second floor of Ciera Bank Building, or call us at 940-549-2525.
Or in Hudson Oaks, 2950 Fort Worth Highway, Suite 500, 817-770-0096.
Or come visit us online at brianins.com. Brian with a Y.
All right. Thank y'all so much.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate the insight on that.
Sure.
We'll take a quick break.